Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn how to do a macro in Word. What are macros? Macros are basically those predefined set of instructions that you could create. Let's say you have to do the same job again and again. You don't need to type it again. You could use a macro and make your life easier. So what is a macro? Uh, I just said it's a predefined set of instructions that we create. You could record a macro or you could write a macro. Right now we'll record a macro. We'll see how to write a macro, but I won't be writing a macro for now. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump in. Okay, so I have a Word document opened here. I have a Word document open here, if you can see. And I'm going to record a macro. A macro option is available in the View tab. That's basically here. So you get a macro option here. You could see it here. That's the macros option. Or you could just right click anywhere. Right click, you can say customize this ribbon and you could get the developer tab. So you could click on the developer tab and say okay. And here, here also you could get a macro. This whole thing under the code command is all about macros. Okay, so a macro is basically, let's say every day in the you have to let's say you're getting feedback from somebody. Every day you have to send documents like name, age, address, uh, comments and comments and rating. You have sent this form every day to somebody, and you will have to type this thing every day on and on, which is a little bit tedious, isn't it? It's really tedious, isn't it? Typing it again and again. Instead, we could write it once and use with the help of a shortcut key or a button. We could make this do everything itself by itself. So, uh, what are we waiting for? Let's start recording now. So let me delete everything. Yeah, I'll just say delete. Now, if I go to the developer tab, I could say macros. I'll say right now currently I don't have any macros, but as we create one, we will we'll do it. We can say create. Okay, wait, 1 second. Here, record macro. So you could put your macro name. Let's say feedback, and I could assign a macro to a button. That's basically you could use a button and say, okay, so you get a button. Or let me stop recording the macro and let's delete this macro for now. Let's say, yeah, let's say delete, or we could use the shortcut key, right? So I'll show you how to use the shortcut key, feedback. So I'll say keyboard, and now press new shortcut key. Let's say Control A, but it's already assigned to select all. Same if we say Control C, it's already assigned to copy. So we need to get a shortcut key that is not assigned to anything, right? So maybe Control Shift A is assigned to all caps, so we can't use that. Control Alt A is unassigned, so we could use Control Alt A. That's all Control A or Control Alt A is unassigned. So we could use this to create a macro. So I'll say assign, I'll click on assign and it is assigned. So now I'll say close. Now if you see this shape of a cassette shape of icon, it means it's recording the macro. So I'll say home tab. Let me increase the size to 20 and I'll say name, age, address, I'll say address, I'll say commands, and I'll say rating, right? Okay, now I'll go back to the developers tab and say stop recording. And we have our macro is ready. So now I'll delete everything again. And I'm just going to say Control Alt A. There we go. Voila. So we've got our macro. How many other times? So let's go here and say Control Alt A. There we go. So that is what is called macros. All right. Okay. So now let's say you've created your macro, you've been using it. So you could also control out here, or you could say this, or you could just say run here. You could go to macros and run it. Now let's say the rating has to be selected from 1 to 5, or otherwise people could type anything basically, right? So I'm going to say step into the code, and you could write your own macro here. Now in the rating we can change things. So I'll put in brackets 1 to 5 stars. Close the bracket, and it's done. Okay, so let's see. There we go. So we did not have to record the whole macro again. By just going and uh, getting into step into the code, we can change the content of the macro. You could delete things, you could add things as well. So that is the help of the macros. So, or you could just say Visual Basic, you'll get a macro here, or you can delete it, you can end it, or you could write your own macro. You don't need to record a macro. You could write your own macro, but you need to know the code for writing the macro, right? Okay, so with this, that's all about macros for today. Uh, if this video helped you, give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. And if you like to see more content like this, also give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you want anything more about Word or technology, you could always put in the comments below, right? So, uh, till then, see you next time.